This happened months ago, and I still don't know if I did the right thing. My younger sister, who's still in high school, has been dating a guy we'll call Chris. Chris is a smart, charming, good-looking dude who cares a lot. I didn't like Chris at first because he was dating my little sister, and I had a hard time opening up to people. But he's a genuinely cool kid, very kind, gets good grades, plays sports, and is on a good path. He became a good friend as well. Anyway, I came home from work a few hours early, and there's a car sitting in my spot in the driveway. I didn't think much of it because she always has friends coming over. I walked in the front door and saw her with another guy in the living room. I didn't see much since they heard me open the door, and I looked away, but I saw just enough to tell what was happening. I walked down the hallway to the bathroom to take a break. It's away from the living room, and I figured that's enough time for them to get dressed. I get done, and I walked back to the living room and discovered the kid who was there was someone I went to high school with. Our age gaps aren't much. I was only 2 years older than him. This kid was a loser. He got stoned every day, smoked, got crap grades, acted like an idiot in class, and made teachers cry. Just about the biggest sack of crap you can think of in a high school kid. I asked my sister, why on earth? I started going on about how the kid's a loser and that she threw Chris away for this little idiot. Pretty much just talking crap about this idiot that's in my house. That little idiot didn't like what I said and wanted to fight me outside. I told him to get out of my house, and he refused. So I grabbed him by the collar and dragged him out of the house like a rag doll and shoved him out the front door, causing him to fall on his face. He got back up and left in his car. My younger sister is bawling her eyes out. I said she messed up her life. I asked her, why did she do this? And I got no response. I'm already furious at this point, but I'm trying to keep it cool. She didn't want to respond, so I just dropped it and went to work on my truck. Parents got home a few hours later. Didn't tell them about it. They still don't know. The rest of the entire day, I debated telling Chris, since I was pretty sure my sister didn't want to. Part of me wanted to take my family's side, but felt like that wasn't the right thing to do. I called Chris that night and told him what was up. He sounded very upset and said he would break things off with my sister, which was understandable. My relationship with my sister still hasn't healed. I've maybe seen her 4 times in the past few months. Part of it's because I travel for work and work overtime. I don't like how I was involved in this, and if it were up to me, I wish I didn't go home early that day, because I do feel bad sometimes. But when I saw what was going on, I put myself in Chris's shoes and what I would have wanted if I were him. He and I are still cool and hang out sometimes. Edit. Yes, I know it sounds weird that I grabbed a high school kid and dragged him out of the house, but we did go to school together, and I had a class with him, but he refused to leave the house and wanted to fight. I'm pretty sure he's 18. Both are seniors. Not the idiot. I do think, however, you should have allowed your sister to tell Chris, stating to her that if she didn't, then you would. She did a crappy thing, and she should have had to face the outcome directly. She would still be upset with you, but she'd be upset that you pushed her to do something she needed to do instead of upset that you betrayed her. I think it's better to rip the Band-Aid off and move on. Cheaters don't come clean. In my experience, it just gets more messy. That opportunity you gave them to have a sudden turnaround in personal integrity, they instead used to weasel parents and others on their side to pressure you into silence. Or they come up with some twisted half-truths and gaslight the person being cheated on. The person being cheated on is being kept in the dark, and others are being made to feel an accomplice to it. You did right by the innocent guy who was being cheated on. 100% agree. If my SO was cheating, I'd want to know ASAP so I could break up immediately. Cheating and lying about it for a long time will hurt way worse when they find out it's been going on and they've been lied to forever. Instead of wasting his life and time, he can quit wasting his time with a cheater and start to move on and find a real girl who won't betray him. My twin cousin has been living with us for 9 months. She was also in foster care for 6 months before living with us. We have a 4-bedroom house, and there's me, teen female, my brother, older teen, my sister, nearly adult, and my parents. So there wasn't an extra room for her. We're converting our old playroom to a bedroom, but until then, she's sleeping in my room because we're closest in age. Sharing a room with my cousin is exhausting. She refuses to leave the room for anything after my mom tucks her in until my mom comes to get her. So if she's hungry, scared, needs to go to the bathroom, feeling sick, etc., she always wakes me up. Then I have to go get my mom so my mom can take care of it. She also randomly hides under the bed and cries, so I have to always drop what I'm doing to go get my mom to take care of that too. The other night she woke me up because she wanted my mom. She could have gotten her herself, but she always insists on waking me up and asking me to get her. I got my mom because she could have cried all night if I didn't. Then the next morning I said it should be someone else's turn to share with her until her room is ready, and that I was sick of being woken up because she's scared to leave her room after bedtime. My dad said her room should be ready soon, and they're not moving her to another room. I said it was BS that they were making me babysit their niece all night, and my dad threatened to ground me if I didn't shut up. Am I the idiot for saying somebody else needs to share a room with her? Not the idiot. My dad said our room should be ready soon, and they're not moving her to another room. How the heck is that taking any time at all? How to convert a playroom to a bedroom? Set up a bed. You're done. So what happens if OP tells CPS about how she's losing sleep and her parents have threatened her with retribution simply for asking for a break from the burden of overnight childcare so that she can get the rest necessary for her physical and mental health? The kid should be with OP's parents. It sounds like your cousin has suffered severe trauma and needs a great deal of support. Is she in therapy? If not, she should be. It's unfair that your parents have put you in the position of being a support person for this child when you're not qualified to do so. They're ignoring the stress your cousin's situation is putting on you. Perhaps you can suggest that they get a baby monitor or a walkie-talkie for your cousin to contact your mom directly. She'll need that when she's in her own room. You're certainly not an idiot, but I think your parents aren't trying to parentify you on purpose here instead of being stressed out by the situation and can't think of better solutions. Do anything you can to get the sleep you need. Earplugs, sleeping in your sister's room, or anything you might come up with. It sucks, but moving her multiple times will just compound her trauma, and her room is nearly done. Hang in there. I, 30 female, have a young baby and just told my husband's entire family that they're not allowed around her until she's 6 to 12 months old. I made this decision without my husband, and I don't feel I'm wrong. And I refuse to backpedal from my decision, regardless of how it makes him feel. Long story short, both my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law came to see the baby last week, and a few days following this, the baby was sick, super congested, fussy, puking, etc. I brought her to the doctor. She's fine, but has an upper respiratory infection. Doctors told me to continue to breastfeed on demand, and they gave her an RSV vaccination. Well, my husband called his mom when we were leaving the doctor's, and he had her on speaker because his phone is busted and only works that way. He gives her the rundown on what's going on with the baby, and that's when she basically tells us that not only was she exposed to the flu by one of her clients, but apparently, sister-in-law's husband had the panini flu the week before her coming to see the baby. Neither of them told us this when deciding to meet our daughter. In fact, I specifically asked them if either of them was sick or around anyone who was, and they said no. So they lied to me about it and continued their facade while at my house because my husband's other sister called while mother-in-law and sister-in-law were at my home, and I told her she couldn't come over because her daughter had the flu, and I wasn't chancing it. Mother-in-law and sister-in-law heard me say this on the phone and still made out like they hadn't been exposed to anything. Needless to say, I confronted them both via phone, and I was met with a, "You need to build the baby's immune system, blah, blah, blah. It's not a big deal. She'll be fine," etc. So I told them that neither of them was welcome here or around my daughter until she was 12 months old, if even then, because they're selfish as heck. My husband is furious right now. He says I'm going to isolate him and make him depressed. He has a history of depression, that he needs his family, big family man, and that I'm selfish to do this to him right before their big family holiday celebrations, Thanksgiving and Christmas. I told him I didn't care. Our daughter not becoming sick is my top priority, and his family doesn't care about that, so they aren't welcome around her. My friends also say I'm wrong because this should be my husband's decision too. OP, you're right. Sick and around a few-week-old baby? What did they think? Sorry, hubby, baby girl first. Honey, does your husband have more family members besides the lying mother-in-law and sister-in-law? Because you only cut those two out, not his entire family. For real, he needs to go visit family on his own and cleanse himself appropriately after visitations. If he needs to be around them that bad, then he needs to take the proper steps to also keep his baby safe. Good job, OP. Don't back down. Keep your child safe. As the father, he should also prioritize keeping his child safe over feelings. He's responsible for his own mental health and needs to navigate that appropriately. I don't think it's fair to your husband to cut off his family. I'd recommend a compromise with him. His family needs to mask and wash up before any contact with the baby. If your husband doesn't support that, I'd return to the full no-contact decree. Do you actually believe people as selfish as OP's in-laws will mask up or wash up if asked? They deliberately exposed a newborn to illness. This is a screw around and find out moment for these people. Not the idiot. Your infant daughter comes before selfish people, including family. Dear husband can go see his family all he wants, and you and baby girl can stay home and away from disrespectful people. I proposed to my fiancé a few weeks ago, and we're engaged. I didn't think anyone would have any reason to object. We're both 30 years old. We've been together since May of 2021 and have lived together since May 2022, and we're employed. We aren't too young, our relationship isn't new, and we don't rely on family for money. But my parents did object to the timing. My sister has a boyfriend. They've been together for a long time. Their relationship started around the time I finished university, and that was in the year 2016. They aren't married. I don't know why he hasn't proposed. He and her are in a similar situation to myself and my fiancé. They're both 29 years old, employed, and not financially reliant on others. I don't know why he hasn't proposed yet, however. His reasons are none of my business. When I told my parents about my engagement, they were upset. I didn't tell a soul I was going to propose. I didn't think or realize I needed to. My parents said they talked to my sister's boyfriend about him proposing, and he said he would think about it. My parents told me he said he wants marriage and isn't against it. However, he still hasn't proposed to my sister yet. My parents said they wished I had waited because they believed a proposal to my sister was imminent. If that's true, I don't know why that means I can't get engaged also. A few months ago, my sister told us that her boyfriend's brother got engaged. By my parents' logic, that means her boyfriend can't get engaged right now. However, when I pointed that out to my parents, they said it was different. When my sister learned about my engagement, she cried because she was so upset. We have an older sister. She's 34 years old. No one acted like this when she got engaged. She was already married, had my nephew, and was pregnant with my niece when my younger sister met her boyfriend. Both my sister and I were single and much younger when she got engaged, and we were both happy for her. My older sister and my brother-in-law and niece and nephew are the only people in my family who are happy about my engagement. Even my grandparents agreed with my parents. It's not as though I can take back the ring and tell everyone the engagement is off. Not that I would anyway. However, it's too late for that. Since my family's acting this way, my fiancé and I have decided to forego having a wedding. I made sure my fiancé was fine with this decision and wasn't just agreeing for my sake. She only has her dad, and he's like my older sister, as opposed to the rest of my family. We'll just have to go to the registry office and fill out the necessary documents, and that's all. We invited my sister and brother-in-law and her dad to witness this, if they want, and we'll be going to the registry office on the morning of November 23rd, next month. My parents and grandparents were angry about this. I don't know if it's because we're not having a wedding, because they're not invited, or because I'm not going back on my engagement. I want to know if this makes me the idiot. Same with me saying that even if my sister has a proposal coming, it's not my problem and doesn't mean I can't propose. It may seem obvious, but I've never gone against my parents before, and their being upset makes me feel guilty sometimes. Not the idiot. They've been together for 7 years. If he wanted to marry her, wouldn't he have asked by now? You and I both know that your sister's boyfriend will never propose. If you waited until he did, you'd never get married. Your life is your life. Your sister's is hers. There's no rule about engagement order. Congratulations, and I hope you have a happy married life. Tell your family that even if your sister got engaged tomorrow and married next week, you and your fiancé will always remember how they behaved regarding your engagement and marriage. They can't take this back. Their short-term fixation about you not getting married so it'll force your sister's boyfriend to propose won't always be urgent, and when it's done, they still have to deal with the consequences of how poorly they welcomed your wife to the family. They need to pull up their big kid panties now and realize their civilized manners. I wouldn't be surprised if your sister's boyfriend ended up leaving because of all the games and pressure from her family. I, male 48, have been friends with James and Annie since we were teenagers. They got together in their late 20s and swiftly had kids, including a daughter, Emily, now 19. James and Annie were kind of crazy as teenagers, in their 20s. Both of them were at every party, taking drugs, having casual intimacy, and lots of boyfriends and girlfriends, which is their choice. As parents, they were very relaxed and honest with their children about their lifestyle. Now Emily's traveling and clearly doing the same. She posts a lot on Instagram, demonstrating this. In addition, my daughter, same age, has said that she's very fun. Recently, we all went out for dinner, me, my wife, James, and Annie. Naturally, we talked about our kids. Mine are at college and working. They were talking about Emily and how they think she's being young and it's her time of life to do it. I said, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, I guess. James asked what I meant, and I said, well, she seems to have a lot of boyfriends and parties. James got mad and asked me to not speak about his daughter's friends. Subsequently, Annie texted my wife and said it was an inappropriate comment. Am I the idiot for saying it? Yeah, you are the idiot. Dude, why the heck would you even say that? I'm genuinely asking why you're so concerned about their daughter's life exactly. This is none of your business, and you need to stop making comments about things that have nothing to do with you, especially children of other people. Note the comparison to his own kids going to college and working sounds denigrating, like my kids are better. This is hilarious because his kids are doing the exact same crap. They just aren't open about it because they know how he is. By the way, a 48-year-old man scanning a young woman's Instagram and feeling so concerned about her behavior? Insert massive eye roll. Your choice of words is one thing, but your tone is revealing. It sounds like you are judgmental and jealous of the life experiences these people and their daughter are having. Your children said she was fun. Why are you looking at her Instagram post if you disagree? You seem oblivious to your rudeness and judgmentalism. Learn some manners.